received a call that been granted permission to come to speak to Sunderland and obviously discuss coming to be the Sunderland manager, and obviously delighted to be here.
I see.
I didn't think I'd be making this video today, to be honest, and in all honesty, I didn't really want to make this video. Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So I'm sure all of you guys are aware the news which is currently breaking as I'm recording this video is that the Preston North End manager Simon Grayson has completed the move to Sunderland with a 3-year contract there. So he will now be the new Sunderland manager going into the new season, and I thought I'd make a full video on what my opinion of this is, because of course myself being the Preston North End fan, this does have pretty huge implications for Preston's season, the Championship in general, and Sunderland as well. So what I'm going to be discussing in this video today is what my opinions are, what I think as a Preston fan, what my opinion is of Simon Grayson and his choice to leave Preston, whether he is the right fit for Sunderland or not. That will also be discussed. What I think will happen to Preston North End, and also as well we'll discuss who I think should get the Preston North End manager's job, and we'll go through at the end of the video some of the people who are currently being linked to the job, and we have a bit to talk about. Some of the people who are currently being linked to it is both exciting and incredibly worrying as well, I think it's fair to say. But I'd love to get some of your guys' opinions on what you think of Simon Grayson's decision to join Sunderland, guys. So whether you are a Preston fan or a Sunderland fan or just a neutral who likes to watch the Championship, let me know down below what your opinions are on this decision. And also as well, I will leave a straw poll in the description where you can go ahead and vote on who you think will be the next Preston North End manager. But without further ado, let's get into talking about this. So first of all, what is my opinion on what I think of the decision and what I think of Simon Grayson in general? So overall, I mean, I'm pretty good, to be honest, that Simon Grayson has left. In my opinion, every season that Grayson has been in charge at Preston, we have shown an improvement year upon year, and I think that if we did keep to this model and we kept under this Simon Grayson regime, year by year we were getting closer to the playoffs, and who knows where it could have ended up. Of course, we'll never know now, but in my opinion, eventually we would have made it into the playoffs with Grayson. With the way we were going and the signings we were bringing in, we are a very youth-orientated squad, and some of the gems which Grayson has been able to pick up, you know, from either youth academies, the lower leagues, or the Irish League, have been absolutely sublime over the past few seasons. And I hope that with Grayson going, our scouting network into those regions will still be intact, and I hope that we will, you know, continue to invest in youth, because in my opinion, the current squad that Preston have is the best we've had in years, to be honest. You know, we've not seen a squad with this much potential in a long time. So the future is still bright for Preston, but we really need to get this next managerial appointment correct. So I've got to be honest, the news did come as a little bit of a shock to me, of course. Realistically, this was only going to be the case. Grayson would only leave if the takeover did fail. So, you know, from what I was reading on different Sunderland forums and different news outlets, it looked pretty certain at one point that the takeover would be taking place, but of course that's not going to be the case anymore, and so Ellis Shaw, the Sunderland owner, has got his first choice in Simon Grayson coming in. So the news did catch me a little bit off guard, but in terms of what I think the implications could be for Preston North End, one thing I am happy about is that we've already started our summer recruitment. I think that if Grayson was to leave this time last year, we could be in a bit of a sticky situation. You know, last season we were still in need of several positions, you know, going into the start of the season, and that was one of the main reasons why we started that season so slowly. So I do hope that we'll get a new manager in the right amount of time. You know, he needs time to settle in and get to know this squad, or else we will have another disastrous start to the season. And I mean, looking over our first few fixtures at the start of the season, this new manager is seriously going to have their work cut out. But I'm expecting a new manager to be appointed within the next 2 weeks probably. That'll give them about 4 weeks to work with the squad before the season starts, which hopefully should be enough. So I know that some Preston North End fans do have the opinion that Simon Grayson had taken this Preston side as far as they could go, and they think that perhaps this, you know, Grayson going to Sunderland could be a bit of a blessing in disguise. I do disagree with that. I do think that there was more to come from Grayson. We've got to understand that Preston, we're not like a juggernaut in the Championship. We're not going to be splashing in millions into new investments every season. We're not going to go and pay like 10 million for a striker to go on and instantly elevate us to that next level. That's just not the Preston, way and what we're about at the moment. And the money just doesn't seem to be there to be doing any of that. So the new manager that does come into Preston has to understand that. A new manager can't be coming in and then demanding, this for that player, this for that player. That's just not going to happen at Preston, and I think that has to be taken into consideration when getting our new manager. So in terms of what I think for Simon Grayson going to Sunderland, will he be the right fit at Sunderland? I'd actually be very interested to know as to what you guys think of how Preston and Sunderland will perform next season, because in my opinion, will Grayson get Sunderland into the top 6 next season? If I had to say now, I'd say no. I'd say they'll probably finish in and around about probably 12th, where Preston finished last season. The reason I say that is because I think Simon Grayson at Sunderland will do some things exceptionally well, and I think he'll also fall short in a couple of areas. I think that Simon Grayson will be a player who balances the ship with Sunderland. I hate to use cliches like that, but I genuinely think that that's what Simon Grayson is being brought to Sunderland to do. Do I think that Grayson will be at Sunderland, in like 3 years' time like he has been at Preston? No, I don't. I'd be incredibly surprised if he did see out this full 3-year contract with them. But what I think he will do, he'll give them stability in the Championship. I can't see Sunderland being relegated with Simon Grayson, Opposed to that, if they did go, completely left field, they brought in some foreign manager who didn't really have any knowledge of the Championship, that could have gone either way, and then, they could have been looking at back-to-back relegations. But what I think Grayson will do, one of his key strengths with what he's able to do with the squad, he's able to galvanise them and get a real team spirit around. He wants to get players playing for the right reasons. He likes to have a good team spirit and people who actually want to play for the club. So in terms of recruitment and in terms of creating a team spirit and a good work environment, I suppose, I think he will do an alright job at Sunderland. I don't think he'll be able to take them to the next level, and I don't think he'll instantly get them promoted, but I think what he will do is he'll set the foundations for perhaps another manager to go on and then take them to that next level. Of course, there is quite a few unknowns with Simon Grayson as well, because with all of his previous clubs, Simon Grayson never really has had much of an injection of money. If we look over his past clubs he's actually managed at, Blackpool, he didn't have any money. Huddersfield, he didn't really have any money. When he was at Leeds at the time, he didn't really have much money to spend. And at Preston, he's certainly not had money to spend. So that could be the opposite at Sunderland. If Sunderland are going to go ahead and give Simon Grayson a whole load of money to go and say, go ahead and improve our squad, get it ready for this Championship, which is a very tough division. So I think it will be very interesting to see how he actually does cope with larger amounts of money, because when he has been able to scout players from lower divisions or youth academies like that, he's been incredibly good. Will he go down the same route with Sunderland? He's sort of like the opposite of Moyes, really. David Moyes bringing in players like Julian Lescott and Stephen Pienaar. I can't see that being the case for Simon Grayson. I think he will be looking to more towards getting younger youth players, hungry players into Sunderland, and that could work in the long run for them. So overall, I don't think that for the short term it's probably not going to be a success for Sunderland, but in terms of setting the foundations for what could be a stable club and to build on for the future, I think Grayson will do an alright job at Sunderland. So now guys, in terms of Preston North End and what this actually means for Preston going into this season and the new managers who are currently being linked to the job. So I'd love to know your guys' opinions. If you're a Preston fan or not, who do you want to see get the Preston North End job? Let me know down below. So we'll go over now the current favourites for the job. So currently the favourite at 5-2 for the Preston North End job, this really surprised me, is Steven Gerrard. I mean, there's pros and cons to all of these managers. Would I like to see Gerrard be the next Preston manager? No, I just wouldn't want to see that. I think it would be far too risky for Preston. What we're currently building at the moment, I think we do need a bit of experience, and it would be a bit naive of Preston really to go ahead and just take a punt on someone like Steven Gerrard, because the odds would be stacked against it. It would have some pros, I guess. Home crowds would probably increase because it's Gerrard and he's a big name and stuff like that, but that just wouldn't outweigh what would be put up at risk, if we were to get Gerrard. I think we need someone who is already a little bit inclined with, aware of how the Championship works and everything like that. And so Gerrard, in the future, he could have the potential to be a successful manager, but at the moment, I wouldn't like to see that. The second favourite for the job is David Moyes, and definitely a fan favourite at Preston, and probably one of the more popular managers who's currently being linked to the job in terms of Preston fans, of course. He did used to manage Preston, he played for us as well, and he was very successful with his time at Preston. The only concerns really you'd have about David Moyes is his last few managerial jobs really haven't gone for him. And one thing I would put forward in terms of David Moyes is the current squad's looking over him. You know, the current incomings that David Moyes likes to go for, it's sort of the opposite of what Preston are about at the moment. You know, you see David Moyes, you know, when he was at Sunderland, how many like over 30 players was he bringing into that squad? That's just not the case at Preston. We're not about that anymore. We're about a youthful squad. So would David Moyes be able to get the best out of young talent, as you know he would like Steven Pienaar or someone like that? I'm not so sure. David Moyes, it's not a bad shout, but I'm really undecided about this one, really. Then the next favourite to be manager at 4-1 is Uwe Rosler, of course, currently the manager of Fleetwood Town. I mean, he didn't play an attacking style of football, but once again, not really proven it at championship level, so it's difficult to comment on these sort of managers. Graham Alexander next at 5-1, of course, a former Preston North End player, really great player. He's a Preston North End great, I think it's fair to say. And being 5-1, he's done well at Scunthorpe, but once again, he's not proven it in the championship yet. Nigel Pearson at 12-1, I'm not sure I'd be staying away from that. An interesting call here, actually. Steve Thompson, currently he will be taking charge of Preston while Simon Grayson, you know, has gone to Sunderland. Steve Thompson will be put in charge. I'd say that this would be like the cheap option for Preston and probably a stable option, really. Do I think that Steve Thompson will be able to take Preston on to the next level? No, I don't think so. You know, he's never been the manager before, but he's been working with Simon Grayson for a long time now. So what Steve Thompson would give, I suppose, if he was made manager would be stability. I don't think we'd improve, but evenly so, I don't think we'd be getting drastically worse under Thompson, but I wouldn't really be looking to give him that. Ryan Giggs at 16-1.
Give it Giggsy to the end of the season.
Same with Gerald, really. I wouldn't really be looking down the avenue. And then we got some other interesting shouts in here. Alex Neil, Alan Irvine. Billy Davis seems to be really one that divides opinion with Preston North End fans. Let me know what you guys think of Billy Davis down below. Interestingly enough there, Sam Allardyce is 33-1. I mean, I'd love to see Sam Allardyce come to Preston. I think he'd be great with us, but I can't see that happening. I just don't really see that as too much of a realistic option. And then, I mean, the last one at 40-1 is Graham Wesley. I mean, who comes up with this stuff? What is that about? Graham Wesley at 40-1 to be the new Preston North End manager. If you don't know who Graham Wesley is, then I suppose that's a good thing, but he used to manage Preston back in 2013, I think he was sacked, and boy, we saw some dark times under Graham Wesley. If Graham Wesley was appointed the Preston North End manager, I think I'd just delete my YouTube channel and then just leave the internet forever because I couldn't bear that shame on me. But 40-1 for Graham Wesley, that's madness. So obviously, as we see there, the majority of managers currently being linked with Preston are ones which are currently out of a job, of course. That's not Preston's only avenue to go ahead and look down. We can look at other clubs, you know, who are currently in, other managers who are currently with a club, you know, possibly Paul Heckingbottom at Barnsley. I think that could be a decent shout, you know. He's worked with pretty much a similar squad that Grayson had at Preston, really, with Barnsley. He did very well with them, getting them promoted from League One, and then had a very successful first season back in the Championship. But that's just a random, you know, suggestion which could go through. But overall, the club 100% needs to get this next appointment right. We're currently building something at Preston, which I am, in all honesty, very excited about. You know, like I said at the start of the video, I do believe this is the best Preston squad which we've had in a long time. So we need a manager who's going to buy into all our ideas at the moment, who's going to understand the squad and understand some of the restraints he's under, I guess. So guys, let me know down below what you think. What do you think of Simon Grayson's decision to leave to Sunderland? Oh, I do think, I can't blame him for leaving. You know, I've not got anything bad to say about Simon Grayson. You know, I can't blame him. He's going to, you know, let's not kid ourselves, he's going to a bigger club in Sunderland where the potential really is there for him. So I wish him all the best of luck. He did absolutely fantastic with Preston North End, you know. I mean, he inherited a squad featuring Graham Cummins, Chris Beardsley and Luke Foster for Preston. So I mean, if that's not an achievement to take Preston to where they are now from inheriting that squad, then I don't know what is. Guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of everything we've discussed in this video. I will be very interested to know. I'll be responding to all the comments in this one because, like I said, there's some very interesting talking points about this one. But like I said, make sure you also subscribe for regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.